Hello and welcome to Motors Plus Test Drive. We have the hot hatch here today. It's the Megane RS, the Renault Megane RS, 1.8 liters, turbocharged, getting 280 horsepower and 390 Newton meters of torque. We're talking about a 6-speed dual clutch. It actually comes in manual if you want it, but it's not here in the Middle East. But this is a true sports car, true hot hatch. It handles beautifully. Well, we're gonna get into that detail later. It starts at 120,000 dirhams, which is a good amount higher than the Megane GT or the regular Megane, but you get a lot for this amount of money. I mean, you get a lot of power, a lot of features that scream sports car. Anyway, as always, we're gonna go in, take a look inside the car and take it for a test drive and tell you what we think. Please join us. So when we look at the interior of the car, it's extremely sporty. You have a head-up display screen, you can see it here. You have red colored gauges. You have a steering wheel with stitching on it. You have a mid-screen that has a great feature. You can actually have it, other than the regular information that you get from the car, you can have it on the track, monitor everything that you do on the track through an application. And you can see the RPM, the speed, the lateral acceleration, the longitudinal acceleration, your steering input angle, everything at every point in the track, so you can actually check what you've done in the best lap and improve whatever you have. And we have this kind of equipment, us, Motors Plus, we have this kind of equipment, but it's not to see it in the car, that the car does that for you. It's an amazing feature. It's a feature that says that this is a track car more than it is a regular driver's car. You have a gear shifter that is not modern looking, not the modern stuff, but it's a very sporty looking gear shifter. You have the Alcantara leather everywhere. Very nice stitching, very sporty. Renault Sport all over the car. From the inside you can see that it's the branding is very nice. The interior, sometimes you have features that look like carbon fiber. The pedals are aluminum. You have Renault Sport written on the door sill. You have very sporty bucket seats that hug you and provide extremely good lateral support. In general, the interior is something that we really cannot ask for more. It's actually better than anything at its level. Right, as we always do, we start with the straight line performance. The 106 seconds is not bad, but it's not great. The problem is the front wheel drive does not have as much traction, so you're limited by the traction, you're not limited by the power. 280 horsepower on 1500 kilograms is not bad at all. It can get you better than this. We really would love to see an all-wheel drive version. It's unlikely because Renault does not have really that kind of platform, that kind of drivetrain available in the company, but maybe they should look around and get an all-wheel drive system for this car. Now, having said that, when you have this much power, if you're in higher speeds, the traction does not become really much of an issue. So you essentially on the road, when you're trying to overtake, you overtake. It does not take you that long to do so. So the power is only an issue, the traction is only an issue when it's really on low speeds. Other than that, the engine is a great engine. Out of 1.8, no manufacturer has been able to get this kind of power on road cars, on commercial vehicles. 280 horsepower out of 1.8, an enormous amount of torque, 390 Newton meter. Now, also the engine note, the sound is amazing, and we're gonna miss this kind of sound when electric cars come into play more and more and more. And also, like, the turbos of today are more to save gas than to actually have a ton of power. This is a 1.7 bar turbo, which is a big turbo. It's not a turbo that you have just to save some gas. So straight line performance takes an A. We're doing the acceleration test. I don't know if you see it, but the car actually has an acceleration test, has all kinds of tests. We're going to get into that. It's an amazing engine sound. Alright, the best we got was 5.8 on the car monitor and 6.2 on our GPS monitor. We'll do our brake test. At 41 meters. How about handling? Performance in corners. It's still a front-wheel drive car, but it handles beautifully. It has four-wheel steering, which actually gets you a very nice turn in corners. It goes in the opposite direction on low speeds and in the same direction on high speeds to bring more stability. Opposite directions give you more agility and more maneuverability. Now, that doesn't mean that you do that on your parking speeds. In normal mode, you actually get it until about 60 kilometers per hour. Now, in sports mode, you get that until 100 kilometers per hour, which means that you can take corners with more agility, better turn. Like, it's a very unique driving experience. It's a very unique handling experience. It's not a typical front-wheel drive car where it understeers a lot, and it's not a rear-wheel drive car because you don't force the oversteer. It just has a very unique turn in for it. Now, that's not the only story. I mean, you have beautiful sporty tires, 245 and 35 profile. Aspect ratio is 35, which is a very low profile, on 19-inch tires, which is a very, very nice set of tires for road holding. Now, having said that, it's not the best braking. We got 39.5 meters from 100 to 0, and that's not great for this size car, this low, and these type of tires. The problem again is the front wheel drive. Yeah, I know it sounds weird that you have what does the drive have to do with braking? The thing about braking is that when you have a front wheel drive platform, most of the weight is on the front, so the rear does not get that much of braking, and with the weight shift you get more and more of that on the front tires, which means that it's not a balanced braking, it's not a balanced weight, ending up with a little bit higher braking distances. And that's not something, there's not much that you can do about it, but it's still a good, under 40 is good, but it's not racing good. That's something that is inherent with front wheel drive cars. It's a nose heavy car. There's really not much you can do about it. Now when it comes to comfort or the lack thereof, well, there's really not much comfort here. It's not a comfortable car. It's not meant to be a comfortable car. It's too stiff of suspension, especially on sport mode. It just, the bumps are not, they don't unsettle the car, but they're not that, they don't get absorbed that much. The bumps are there, you feel it. And the seats do not help. Again, they help you stick to be able to steer when you're doing a nice corner. They help you stay in place, but they're not comfortable. The Alcantara leather is beautiful, it's sporty, but it's not comfortable. The seats, if you're a bit overweight like I am, you're not going to be happy in those seats. But if you're a hardcore driver, you're going to be really happy. I wouldn't recommend this car if you're doing like 3,000 kilometers a month. It's not a car that you want to stay in for that long. Now, if you do any of those kilometers on the track, this is your car. It's not something, even though it's practical. It has 4 doors, it seats 4 adults comfortably. A 5th adult would not be that comfortable in the middle, but it's capable of seating 5 adults. Now, having said that, it's not practical in your everyday life if you're driving a lot. It's a track car. It's a track car that you can drive in the streets, but it's a track car, and you do not get a track car for this kind of money. It's 120,000 dirhams, which is, you don't get those sounds, those turbo sounds for 120,000 dirhams. You don't get this full-fledged race dashboard for 120,000 dirhams, or for a lot more for that matter. Now, if you're a bit shy of those, if you're a bit shy of those prices, and you feel a bit shy of this kind of power, you don't need it, this kind of stiffness, you want to just stay with the GT. The GT it has 205 horsepower out of a 1.6 liter engine, which is pretty good. It's not 280 out of 1800 cc engine, which is the most commercially available vehicle has, but it's still a good car. The GT is a good car. If you go with the RS, you better be focused on performance, and performance it gives you. I'm sorry, I can keep on yapping about this all day, but it's just a car that screams performance. I mean, it competes with cars that are more expensive, like the Golf R or the Honda Civic Type R, but I bet it can keep up with them on the track. It's a good car. It's a good track car. Anyway, as always, if you like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.